Hey Sheila, welcome to the Community Living Golf Tournament. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through a few times. We'll put you back in your dress position, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. Spine is straight and on a slight tilt. Legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Arms hang down nice and naturally out in front of you. Golf club works out to the ball. So your posture is really, really nice, but I'd like to associate a little bit better balance with this posture. So ultimately what we would do is we would just get you to take your sternum and your head and rock forward a little to distribute the weight a little bit more on the balls of the feet. So you want to feel your sternum and your head a little bit more out over your toes. That will allow you to get a little bit more athletic ready. And in doing this, that's going to push the club head just a little further out away from the ball. Therefore, you're going to have to stand a little further away. Right now, hopefully you can see that you're sort of sitting back on your heels a little bit. And any golf shot we hit, we really should be into the golf ball, not leaning away from it. Next thing we can observe here has to do with your alignment. See your feet going out in this direction here. Theoretically, your club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet, and parallel lines on camera will have an appearance of converging. So we're basically set up down the left edge of the fairway, meeting the left rough. Now you might set up in this slightly open position because you're used to seeing the ball sort of take off in that direction, but then the ball gets out in the air and creates a little bit of a fading action, and then hopefully finds the intended target, in this case being the center of the fairway. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Chella Choi. We've got some color-coded lines on the screen here, just as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. And before we go ahead and take a look at the dynamic motion, I just want you to pay attention to Chella's setup and sort of visualize what I was talking about as it pertains to your balance. So you can see with Chella Choi, her sternum and her head are much more over her toes. She's more athletic ready into the golf ball and on the balls of her feet. Whereas you're sitting back on your heels and ultimately initially right away pulling away from the golf ball. As we go ahead and take a look at the golf swing, I want to initiate the takeaway by rotating the shoulders, drawing the arms and hands back and club. We can refer to that sort of as a one-piece takeaway where all those parts are sort of moving simultaneously as the club draws back right along the red line, which simply means she's bringing the golf club back initially on proper swing plane. As she continues to rotate, at this point in time we need to establish some wrist hinge, whereby we transition the club head from below to above the hands right there, and then we're going to work the golf club from red up to yellow. When we finally set the golf club at the top of the backswing, we're going to have full shoulder rotation. Left arm is going to be situated on the yellow line, and that club shaft should be within the blue-yellow V zone, but hopefully having the shaft and the club head slightly closer to yellow than to blue. At this point in time, we've rotated about a very stable right leg, and we're keeping the weight on the instep of the right foot. As you initiate your takeaway here, you draw your hands back really, really nicely, turning your shoulders, but you do have a tendency of drawing them in a little too quickly, and that pulls the golf club underneath your swing plane. As you continue to move here with your rotation, you're continuing to swing your hands and arms inside and around you a little too much, and we're sort of missing or lacking a little bit of wrist hinge. If we had a little bit more wrist hinge, the club would stay closer to plane, wouldn't get so shallow, and would stay a little bit more vertical. As we continue to move back here, as long as you get some wrist hinge working here, the club can recover back into position. You are now starting to establish your wrist hinge, and you're now back into a better position. Although your arms are definitely across your sternum too much, and your right arm is congested to your core, congested to your rib cage, and sort of working behind you a little too much. So we do have quite a bit of a flat and shallow swing to this point. As we continue to go back here, arms start to avalanche up a little bit, so you're starting to recover and get back into a little bit of a better position when you finally get to the top of your backswing. At this point in time, you've got excellent rotation, stable right side. Looks like the weight might be falling a little bit to the outstep of the foot, so we do want to learn how to keep the weight on the inside part of that foot. We'd obviously be able to see that a little bit better from a face-on camera. But the rotation's good, the leg stays in good position, and you rotate off of an axis that you had at address. The only issue is it is maybe just a little bit too vertical. We would like to see, so you're at about 76 degrees right now. If we go back to address, we can see that you did not start with your spine at 76 degrees. You started with it more around 62. So you can definitely see that you have stood up out of your shot during your backswing. You want to learn how to rotate off the axis that you established to begin with, and the axis you established to begin with was on a better angle than where you are at the top of your backswing. As we create our transition back into the ball, simply want to move our weight from our right side to our left side, firing our knees and our hips to the target, unwinding our core, and firing our hands. In doing so, we need to make sure that we're bringing the golf club from yellow back down on top of red, which is exactly what we see here with Chela Choi. The golf club has returned right back to plane. The other thing we want to point out at this stage of the golf swing is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. It simply means that we're retaining angle coming into the hitting zone, and this is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in the golf swing, let alone getting the club to return back to plane as we already pointed out. And this is ultimately what's going to allow us to hit a straight golf shot in accordance to our alignment. As we go ahead and watch your transition back into the golf ball, good athletic move, shifting from right to left. Fortunately, your hands come over the top, meaning that they're traveling down yellow, out towards blue. As your hands travel down yellow and out towards blue, it's going to be very difficult to keep the club head above and behind your hands. So as we're coming in here, let's go one more frame. At this point in time, we could look at your lead forearm and your club and basically say, hey, you know what? We do have your backwards check mark, and the club head is above and behind your hand. So creating power in your golf swing won't be that much of an issue because you do retain angle coming into the golf ball. The only issue is the golf club has not returned back to plane. So you're over the top, you're coming into the ball a little steep, and therefore that's going to influence the swing path. And that swing path is going to attack the ball a little bit from outside to inside. A lot of that has to do with the fact that you're set up open to begin with. Okay? So we're seeing a lot of things here. Aiming left, come a little over the top, going to attack the ball a little from out to in. This is going to produce fades all day long. Okay? Unless you square the face up, then you'll hit the ball more solid and further, but it's going to go left on you. And then sometimes you leave the face too open, and it's going to slice a little too far right on you. And we'll take a look at that here in a second. As we continue to come into the golf ball, we simply just want to track the club head coming into the ball. Theoretically, at this point in time, this pre-impact position, which is the most important part of a golf swing, we have to make sure that the golf club is tracking into the golf ball from this red line, from on plane. Now in Chela's case, the club falls slightly underneath the red line, but for simplicity's sake, let's just say she's coming into the ball from on plane. She is slightly inside, so the major thing she has to be able to do is just make sure she squares the club face up, otherwise she'll block the ball to the right. Three things we need to hit a ball straight. We have to aim well, we have to bring the club down on plane, and we have to square the face up via having a good grip. Well, she's aiming well, she's bringing the club down on plane, she has a good grip, so she's going to hit a relatively pretty straight golf shot, or in her case, just a subtle draw here, because she is again attacking the ball just slightly from the inside. With you, your club never return back to a red line. It's going to fall further out in front, and it's going to attack the ball too far from the outside. So if we connect the dots here, if we had a little bit of a higher speed camera compared to what they have on TV, that is your descending plane. The club never returns back to plane. At this point in time, we can take a look at the path of the club, and we can understand, very simply put, that Chela Choi's golf club is slightly inside the ball, it expands out to make contact, and then it moves through on a nice, natural, subtle arc. With you, your club is stuck outside the ball, moving down and across to make contact, and that's the path that your club is traveling on. Therefore, if your club face squares up to this swing path, you are going to pull your golf shot to the left. If you over square or over release the golf club, not only are you going to pull that ball left, but you're going to pull hook it because it's going to have right to left spin. Therefore, your subconscious brain will typically say, hey, leave that club face a little bit open to that out to in path. The ball will start just ever so slightly a little further right than the yellow line. The ball will have left to right spin, and we'll hit this soft little fade that will find the intended target. So when you hit the ball well, that's the kind of ball flight you obviously see. If we leave the club face too open on this out to in path, we will block the ball a little further right, still towards the intended target. The ball then has way too much left to right spin, and the ball's going to slice on you. Therefore, the end result of your golf shot is solely dictated based on the timing of your club face. Because the club is coming from the outside to the inside, if you over-release the club, it's following the yellow arrows. If you under-release the club, it's following the blue arrows. When you hit that slice, swinging the club from out to in with an open face, that's considered to be a glancing blow. You're going to lose a lot of distance and it's going too far right. When you hit the ball or you pull it or you pull hook it down yellow, again, that's when you hit it the furthest because the club face is square to the path. And when you time it properly and just magically leave that club face in the perfect position, slightly open to that out to in path, the ball follows red and will find your intended target. Anyways, as we carry through the golf swing here, we can see at impact, Chella Choi's right heel's off the ground. She carries her energy through the golf shot with her hands, unrotating her body. Her eyes will pick up where the ball is going. And in order to get to a finishing position, that right heel has to come fully up off the ground onto the toe of the right foot, allowing us to count all the spikes in her shoe. At this point in time, she's up on her toe. We can count all the spikes in the shoe. All her weight's on her left side. She's posted up onto her left leg. Her hips are square to the target. She's maintained her spinal tilt through the golf shot. Her shoulders are fully rotated through, and her hands are high with the golf club. As you come through, you can see at impact you're a little flat-footed. You need a little bit better footwork, knee work, and hip work to impact. So one of the things you'd like to work on is your move to impact from the top of your backswing. Learn to get your lower body, your feet and your knees, and your hips working a little bit better in conjunction to the upper side. As we continue to move through your golf shot here, hands are working really well. Right heel starts to come off the ground now, which is excellent. So now we're incorporating that lower body a lot better. As you move through, we can see the golf ball here headed left. And it's going to, again, stay left and go further left if we over-release it. It's going to nicely fade back online if we leave that club face just a little open. And it's going to go too far right if we leave it too open. As you come through, really athletic motion through your finish. It looks really, really nice. Again, you do pull up out of the shot a little. Spinal axis is what I refer to in a reverse tilt compared to where we started, which again is here. And that's where your spine should be during the entire golf swing, just like Chella Choi's. Need to maintain that red axis during the backswing. Need to maintain that red axis back into impact. And we need to maintain that axis through to the finishing position, although we can stand up out of it a little bit, but we can't be falling over and creating a reverse axis and getting to blue. A lot of reason why that's happening is because of your out to in path. Anyways, a little quick summary and recap of your swing here. Your athletic ability is great. Your hands work really, really well. You bring them back, you fire them through, really nice, create really nice hand speed. Your core's working well. You coil back, you uncoil through. You've got good footwork eventually, which allows you to get through to the finish. So you have really nice general swing motion. We do have to improve your alignment, so we're set up square. And then at that point in time, learn how to bring the golf club down into the ball from an on-plane position. Again, 3 things we need to be consistent. We have to aim well, we have to bring the club down on proper plane, and we have to square the face up. Unfortunately, you only have 1 of 3 things that are happening correctly here. Your grip is probably reasonably good. Club face is working well through the ball, although you're having to subconsciously keep it open based on this swing. But we know with your alignment, we're aiming too far left. We know with your downswing plane, you're coming over the top. So it's going to be very tough to have any form of consistency because your consistency is going to solely come down to the timing of the club face and how open you keep it. Okay? Anyways, good looking golf swing. If at any point in time you ever want to work on your golf game, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville, and be happy to help you out. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, sit on any committees for golf tournaments, and you're looking for a unique gift to provide to the participants or guests of any events you're involved with, I'd be happy to discuss my services with you as well. All my contact information is at the end of this video, so feel free to drop me an email or phone call. Anyways, I hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video, and hope you have a great summer.